The same people who built Tucume constructed a host of pyramids throughout the area, including one at Sipan. Inside that pyramid, huaqueros, or grave robbers, discovered a trove of gold and silver artifacts that exceeded anyone's imagination.
You know, David, I think that the royal tombs of Sipan are the most fantastic discovery in the history of Peruvian archaeology.
Well, I think in the history of the New World, I don't think there's anything like it.
Yeah, I think that would be fair to say.
The whole building here, and it's a huge investment by both Peruvian government, I think international funds too, dedicated to the discovery of one tomb.
Yes, actually a series of tombs. You know, it's the Lord of Sipan and his predecessors. This is the first time that the royal tomb of the Moche was found intact by archaeologists before the looters got there.
And what a discovery. Can you imagine finding this?
Wow, that would be something. You know, if I found something like this, I would know I'm close to a king, because this was the crown.
This was his crown, solid gold.
Yes. And this is another important emblem of the Lord of Sipan. These were worn by warriors only. These are like a coxal protector. This was hanging from the waist of every warrior.
So they had a king warrior, and that was the key, that this was the top.
Yes.
There was nobody higher than this.
Exactly, and the warrior emblems were very important as signs of power. As you see in this staff, the image you have there engraved represents a warrior with a prisoner who is naked and, you know, deprived of his weapons and uniform. When they found all these emblems, they knew this was a king. And the most important thing, I mean, for a long time, these emblems had been known from murals and paintings on pottery.
In other things that they had found.
Exactly, and archaeologists thought these were mythical characters. But when they found the tomb of the Lord of Sipan, they suddenly realized that these were the emblems of real people.
So, wow, in other words, this isn't just a story. This is the real guy.
Yeah, this was one of the keys of this discovery.
Apart from the astonishment of this discovery, what were the archaeologists finding out when they saw this?
Well, I think one of the most eloquent expressions of the power of the Lord of Sipan is that when he went to the grave, he took with him several people. For instance, they found 8 people that were sacrificed to go to the tomb with the Lord of Sipan. One of them, the first, was a soldier that was guarding the tomb. He had amputated his 2 feet, so he wouldn't leave his post guarding the tomb. Yeah, this is one of the finest pieces they found in the tomb.
Gold on one side and silver.
And they say that this represents a duality, you know, gold associated with the sun and silver associated with the moon. Look at this. This was one of the chest pieces that the body was wearing in the coffin.
Look at the thousands and thousands of pieces of shell. Spondylus from Ecuador.
Yes, and malachite probably. Yeah. These are the ear spools that the priest was wearing in the grave.
And a nose, I don't know, what would you call that? A
nariguera.
Yeah, but there's not a good English word for it, but that would cover his nose real well.
Yeah, it would insulate the Lord and his mouth from all the mortals.
Up, and here he is.
That's him. That's his actual remains.
Well, he's less impressive in death than he was in life.
Yeah, I guess we're all similar in death. This painting is a reconstruction of how the funeral of the Lord of Sipan could have been. Here you see the visitors, the old people directing the ceremony, the new Lord already appointed that is directing the funeral, and you see the coffins there with the sacrificed women and soldiers and servants that went into the tomb with the Lord of Sipan. One of the things that the Moche represented in the pottery were the different stages of life. For instance, they have pots where they show sexual relations, they show pots where they show birth, they show children, they show young people, warriors for instance, they show adults, farmers, they showed old people, and they also show the afterlife in the form of skeletons. The Moche were, in my opinion, among the best goldsmiths of the history of Peru. And this is one of my favorite pieces.
These are spiders.
Yes, each one of them represents a spider on its web, and each one of these pieces has more than 100 points of welding.
This section shows recovered loot from Peru all over the world.
Yeah, that's actually how the archaeologists found out that there was an important tomb in Sipan, because the looters didn't agree on their share of the loot. So one of them went to the police and reported the other ones. And that's how the police traced the existence of the tombs.
There's just no honor among thieves. But this was worth apparently $600,000 on the international market in Philadelphia. The FBI recovered it.
Yeah, this is one of the pieces they sold before the archaeologists got to the site. You know, the pieces were so valuable that during the excavations, the archaeologists had to be guarded the entire time by the army and the police to keep the looters away.